Hi! Today we are exploring homelessness, looking at prevention through the numbers. Group 6 consists of Ashley Reyes, Samantha Day, Jason Smislov, and Luis Angel Campos. As we all know, homelessness is a very complex societal issue, and it has significant implications for public health. Individuals experiencing homelessness often face substantial barriers to accessing routine medical care, and that often leads to an over-reliance to hospital emergency services. And these challenges not only put a strain on public health or hospitals, but it also contributes to poorer health outcomes among the vulnerable population. And to better understand these patterns, our analysis utilizes the 2021-2022 homeless hospital encounters by facility in California. And this data set compiled data from emergency departments and inpatient hospitalizations throughout the state. And by examining this data set, we are hoping to uncover some key trends or identify some correlations between healthcare access, facility characteristics, and demographic factors. So ultimately, this research provides valuable insights that can inform or provide some guidance in effective healthcare strategies or policy interventions to ensure that these resources are allocated better to serve the individuals who are experiencing homelessness.
This topic touches on the moral and ethical dimensions of homelessness, examining the issue through data rather than judgment. The goal of the presentation is to not advocate for limiting access to healthcare, but to raise awareness about the need for resources and to address potential biases that affect how individuals experiencing homelessness are treated in the healthcare system. We'll be connecting the circumstances leading to homelessness and emphasizing real-world scenarios where health issues can escalate into the loss of housing and stability. It's important to also define homelessness clearly so that we can understand the scope of the problem and advocate better for public health resources to address the both immediate healthcare needs and the underlying causes of homelessness. This slide provides an overview of the dataset utilized for this project, which includes key variables relevant to healthcare encounters among individuals experiencing homelessness. The data encompasses details such as encounter types, facility characteristics, including county, ownership, and whether the facility is urban or not, and teaching or non-teaching, and also whether the facility is located in a healthcare shortage area. Additionally, demographic factors such as age, race, payer type, and licensed bedside are considered to understand the barriers and disparities in accessing care. This dataset allows for a comprehensive analysis of healthcare encounters, both in total and as a percentage, to access the challenges faced by this population. This data was sourced from the California Health and Human Services Open Data Portal.
Hello, my name is Jason Smislov, and today we'll be talking about data filtration. So we will be filtering our data through age distribution, hospital ownership, population density, data limitations, generalization, and reliance on public health resources. We did this by first removing any non-applicables or any data that did not have any values. We removed ID, and we processed our data to remove total encounters and percent encounters, as it did not actually provide us any meaningful data. And we took a look at the shortage areas and noticed that those did not actually provide any information that was actually reliable. And we processed our data through regression analysis and data visualization. Next, we'll be taking a look at data constraints. So one thing that we learned is that our data lacks the definition of homelessness. Since there are many definitions and characteristics of homelessness, this put a limit on how far we can analyze the data and what we can use it for. Some things that we noticed is that it had a lack of standardization in age groups. It missed and had incomplete variables such as hospital funding sources, and it lacked other social determinants of health, which could have really helped us to find further results and to further how we can use other data sets to incorporate with our data to come up with better understandings and findings.
So for our first question, we decided to explore which age group had the highest number of homeless encounters. So our data indicates that 40 to 59 age group had the highest encounters with 43.1%, and the 19 to 39 age group had a close second with 37.5% of total encounters. So We thought this was actually very odd, considering that older adults tend to have the high risk of developing chronic health conditions due to age. And we thought that was interesting that the older adults had fewer encounters despite the higher risk of chronic health issues. And this could also suggest many things that maybe older adults just don't have the access to healthcare, or maybe they don't have the resources or the financial stability to access healthcare. It could suggest a lot of things, and we actually would love to explore this further. But this also underscores like the importance of tailored healthcare to address each of these age group needs.
From the data, we found that higher population densities are linked to more homeless healthcare encounters, likely due to urban areas having more healthcare facilities and a larger homeless population. Interestingly, when we adjust for population size, rural areas show a higher rate of encounters per capita, indicating that despite fewer encounters overall, the relative need for healthcare is higher. However, there's no significant correlation when examining encounters per square mile, suggesting that factors beyond population density, like healthcare access and local policies, are at play. Given these findings, it's likely that urban areas will continue to experience higher encounters, while rural areas may need some targeted interventions. I recommend scaling healthcare services in the urban areas and implementing mobile clinics or outreach programs in rural areas regions to better meet the needs of the homeless population. This tree map visualizes the distribution of homeless healthcare encounters by counties in California. Darker areas represent regions with higher numbers of encounters, typically urban areas, while lighter areas showing fewer encounters, often in rural counties. Los Angeles, a highly populated county, is dark red, indicating the highest number of encounters, whereas the color lightens as the number of encounters decrease, such as in Shasta County. Larger, more densely populated counties tend to have more encounters, likely due to increased healthcare access. However, some rural areas show unexpectedly higher encounters, suggesting that the factors, such as local factors, may influence these numbers. This map emphasizes the need for targeted healthcare resources, with urban areas requiring more comprehensive services and rural regions benefiting from mobile health units or outreach programs.
This topic touches on the moral and ethical dimensions of homelessness, explaining the issues through data rather than judgment. The goal of this presentation is not to advocate for limiting the access to healthcare, but to raise awareness about the needs for more resources and address the potential biases that affect how individuals experiencing homelessness are treated in the healthcare system. We'll be connecting the circumstances leading to homelessness, emphasizing the real world, scenarios where healthcare issues can escalate into a loss of housing and stability. It's important to also define homelessness clearly so that we can understand the scope of the problem and advocate for better public healthcare resource to address both the immediate healthcare needs and the underlying causes of homelessness.
Next, we'll be taking a look at our question 4 and our findings. So, how does the type of hospital ownership, nonprofit government, or private ownership correlate with the number of homeless encounters? So, what we found is that nonprofit hospitals report 1.5 to 2 times more homeless encounters than government or private hospitals, as we see in the bottom right. This correlates with homeless and non homeless, and this was found through data visualization and regression analysis. The age and payer type are key factors that drive these differences, and the payer type would be like Medi-Cal, Medicare, and other insurance varieties.
This slide highlights the distribution of hospital visits between homeless and non homeless populations across California. As shown in the table, homeless hospital visits accounted for only 3% of total statewide. Uh, we see 872,000 visits compared to nearly 29.5 million for non homeless individuals. Despite representing a small portion of visits, 82% of the homeless encounters were covered by statewide subsidized programs such as Medi-Cal and Medicaid. This underscores the heavily reliance on homeless populations of public health care resources. The 19 to 39 age group represents the second largest proportion among homeless encounters at 29.1%, slightly higher than the 26.2 seen in the non-homeless population. Interestingly, the 60 plus age group shows a comparable distribution with 34.5% for homeless individuals and the 35.4 for non-homeless, which is lower than initially expected. Considering the prevalence in chronic conditions with age, this discrepancy may indicate potential barriers to healthcare access for older homeless adults or differences in healthcare seeking behavior. Not sure if this would change our data, but we did not see any recorded encounters for homeless individuals ranging from 0 to the age of 18. So this can also highlight a potential gap in pediatric healthcare reporting or at least some access among homeless youth. These patterns indicate the need for age-specific healthcare interventions, particularly for middle-aged and older homeless populations. Addressing these specific disparities require targeted policies that improve access to specialized healthcare services, especially for age groups with the highest utilization rates. This slide highlights potential decision-making errors and biases that could influence our findings. First, selection bias may arise if specific regions or hospitals are underrepresented in the dataset. For instance, the absence of data from Alpine and Sierra counties limit the generality of our analysis, potentially skewing statewide conclusions. Additionally, confirming bias could affect interpretation, as there may be a tendency to emphasize patterns that align with pre-existing assumptions, such as assuming that larger metropolitan areas inherently experience higher homeless hospital encounters without thoroughly considering alternative explanations. The dataset also lacks critical variables, including gender identity and the length of hospital stay. These omissions may be obscure key factors influencing healthcare utilization patterns, while underreporting could further distort our understanding of true encounter rates. To mitigate these biases, combining intuitive decision-making and data-driven insights is essential. While the data provided empirical evidence, intuition shaped by contextual knowledge and stakeholder experiences can guide hypothesis refinement, ensuring that the policy recommendations are addressed are nuanced, real-world dynamics. But, for example, intuitively recognizing the role of cultural or systemic barriers in healthcare access can prompt more targeted data-driven collection and analysis in future research. If I was a policymaker, I would use this data to be able to funnel more money into certain counties. In conclusion, our analysis showed critical insights into homelessness, healthcare utilization, and demographics, although results were a little underwhelming. Data was collected during COVID-19 with expectations for more prominent outcomes. We also saw that homeless individuals aged 19 to 59 heavily rely on state subsidies programs like Medi-Cal and Medicaid. Nonprofit hospitals accounted for 50% of homeless encounters, outpacing government and private hospitals. And lastly, higher population density generally corresponds with more encounters, but factors like healthcare access, hospital policies, and county social economic conditions also influence outcomes. Thank you.
This slide shows all of the works cited that we used in the presentation and also our paper. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for your time.